Why is this? Why did this happen to me? A question that we all ponder at some point in life when life just does what life does, when right goes wrong, when calm turns to chaos, and when trouble doubles. Our first question is so often, why? But we are often not privy to the cause behind the effect. No, the reason for the wrong is not always so clear, not always so easy to know, and not even always for us to know. But everything happens for a reason. So here are 7 Bible-based reasons for why bad things happen in life. Number 1, time and chance. Ecclesiastes 9:11 says, I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. Basically, in a fallen world, no matter how smart or strong you are, no matter how well you plan and prepare, things just don't go right sometimes because c'est la vie, such is life. And we don't tend to like that answer, but sometimes it's the only answer we get. Jesus explains it this way in Matthew 5:45. God causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. So whether we like it or not, that's just the way it is. Time and chance happen to us all. Which leads us to number 2, judgment. Now, this is the one that most of us think is happening when bad things happen, because we understand this one very well. You do something wrong, and then the bad thing happens as the consequence of that wrong. It's like how God clearly outlines in great detail in Deuteronomy 28. Fully obey the Lord, and you will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. But don't fully obey, and you will be cursed in the city and cursed in the country. Yeah, we kind of get that doing bad things causes bad things to happen. Romans 6:23. For the wages of sin is death. James 1:15. Sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Again, we tend to get this one. But it's not always judgment. Just ask Job. Sometimes it's number 3, the enemy. Now, this is another one that many of us think of when bad things happen in life. Like when Job's friends thought that he had done something wrong to cause all of the tragic calamity in his life. Job 1:6-12 reveals that it was indeed not due to Job's sin, but it was the adversary, the accuser, that serpent of old, the devil, was behind the chaos. Jesus says a similar thing happened with Peter in Luke 22:31, saying, Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift you as wheat. And Peter himself later writes in 1 Peter 5:8, be sober-minded, be alert. Your adversary, the devil, is prowling around like a roaring lion, looking for anyone he can devour. Sometimes, oftentimes, demonic influence and satanic interference are the source of our suffering behind the scenes. But other times, it's number 4, a test of faith. Yes, Satan was the direct source of Job's trouble, but his accusation was that Job's faith would fail if God wasn't so good to him all the time. So the actual reason for the trouble was a test of faith that God permitted to the limit that Satan could not take Job's life. So sometimes bad things happen to test your spiritual grip strength, how well you hold on and hang on, to test how strong and how deep your anchor is in the Lord. But these faith tests really should not come as a shock to us. 1 Peter 4:12-13 says, Beloved, Do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. But rejoice inasmuch as you participate in the sufferings of Christ, so that you may be overjoyed when his glory is revealed. But our faith is often tested in life, not only to prove us, but also to improve us, which brings us to number 5. Bad things happen for your growth. Proverbs 17:3 says, "The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and the Lord tests hearts." As you've probably heard the saying that gold without fire will never be pure gold. Well, 1 Peter 1:6-7 says, "In all this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials. These have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed." We don't like it sometimes, and yeah, it hurts sometimes. But bad times, bad things really do make us better. James 1:2-4. "Count it all joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." But God not only uses bad things to make us better, but also to make things better, which leads us to number 6. Bad things happen to make good things happen. When Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, it eventually led to his rise to second in command in Egypt. And he later told them, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Yes, God turns trouble into treasure and makes problems profit us, as Paul famously says in Romans 8:28. "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." He is the God who turns our burdens into blessings and our tests into testimonies. In fact, there is a certain level of blessing that can't be attained nor obtained without trouble. Jesus says in Matthew 5:11-12, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." And finally, God's working of our bad for our good ultimately brings him praise, which brings us to number 7. Bad things happen for his glory. John 9:1-3. "As he," Jesus, "went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, 'Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?' 'Neither this man nor his parents sinned,' said Jesus, 'but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him.' And Jesus then opens his eyes, and the man went home seeing for the very first time in his life, to the glory of God." Yes, God uses the bad things in our lives to show you he's a healer, to show you he's a deliverer, to show you he's a very present help in the time of trouble, to show you he's God. So regardless of the numerous reasons the bad thing could have happened to you, the only reason it did not destroy you, the only reason it did not take you out is always God. As Lamentations 3:22 says, "It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed." And so, regardless of why the bad thing happened to you, know today that trouble don't last always. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy truly comes in the morning. As Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So hang on in there, for in it all and through it all, He is with us all, even in the 7 reasons why bad things happen in life.